Hey, everybody, welcome to Take 5. We're here for 5 minutes of devotion, 5 days a week. We are reading today out of Matthew 20 and Psalm 57. We're going to fly through Matthew 20 today. We're starting at verse 1, so we're going to skip around a little bit. Here we go. For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. He agreed to pay them in denarii for the day and sent them into the vineyard. About 9 a.m, he saw some workers standing in the marketplace doing nothing, and he told them, "Go work in my vineyard. I'll pay you whatever's right." So they went. He went about noon and 3 in this afternoon and did the same thing. About 5 in the afternoon, he went out and found others still standing around and told them the same thing. He said, "Why have you been standing here all day long doing nothing?" "Because no one has hired us," they answered. He said, "So go work in my vineyard." When the evening came, the owner came to the vineyard and had the foreman call all the workers together and began to pay them their wages, beginning with the last ones hired and moving toward the first. The first workers that were hired in the afternoon at 5 o'clock each received a denarius, and then everyone else that came through was paid the same wage. When those last came through who had worked for the entire day and received the same denarius, they said, "This is unfair to those who have borne the burden of the work in the heat of the day." But he answered one of them, saying, "Am I being unfair to you, friend? Didn't you agree to work for a denarius? Take your pay and go. I want to give the one who was hired last the same as I gave you. Don't I have the right to do what I want with my own money? Or are you envious because I'm being generous?"
Well, there's so many things in that story. Oh, my word. First of all, think about this. The laborers that weren't hired, they weren't napping at home. They weren't sitting around reading novels and shirking their responsibility. They just didn't get hired. So it really wasn't their fault. They were willing. I think that's important. I think we miss that sometimes. But it also does seem reasonable to us that the people who worked a full day would receive a higher wage. But what we see here is really a story of God's kindness and generosity. The reality is, if we're comparing this to the kingdom of heaven, we've all agreed to the fair wage that the vineyard owner is going to give us, right? We're all going to get the same pay. And no matter if you've served him and worked in the heat of the day for decades, uh, you know what you had? You had a promise. You didn't have to have a lot of fear and insecurity. You knew that there was going to be something waiting for you in the end. Those people that waited around till 5 o'clock, they were probably anxious. I mean, they might not have had enough to get bread for the day. Think about it. You may have worked, but you got something. You had something along the way. And I think that we just can't forget about the kindness of God and his heart to bless everyone, and that every gift and privilege that we have comes from the hand of God. And sometimes we need to just remember that. We need to give thanks for what God has given us instead of coveting what he's given somebody else. Amen.
We could stand in a city and look around at all of the people who are walking into office buildings everywhere, and we have no idea what they're being paid. I have no idea. But yet you look at the football player who's getting millions of dollars to play a game, and we're like, what? They're like millions of dollars. I could live for the rest of my life and not make $1 million, and they're getting millions. But you know what? It's only because we know what they're making that it gets under our craw. When we're going to go to heaven, are we going to get to heaven and God's going to be like, "And here is the mansion on this special street for so and so"? I mean, literally, you're just glad to be there. You're glad to not be in the fiery lake of fire burning forever and ever. You're just glad to be there with him. It's not eternal separation from God. Yes. So really, we look at this from this monetary standpoint, and we are all grubbing around down here just trying to get the better Lexus. And really, God's saying, "Who cares?" I would show you the gates of heaven just as I would show the richest person alive. All you have to do is follow what I say. Just do what I say. and you'll get your reward. And I refuse to stand around comparing. But what role does pride really play in those expectations?
Well, I think obviously that's for down here. When we get up there, there's not going to be any of those things. We're all going to say, "Huh, it was worth it, and I didn't deserve it." And glory to the Lamb. But down here, a lot of times we get our validation by things like that. And so, yeah, there's so many components that are connected with that. Our sense of self-worth, our pride, our like, we got done wrong. This isn't fair. But reality, we're all getting way more than we ever deserve. So we need to check those thoughts at the door when they start coming our way that I deserve better than this. Guess what? You don't.
None of us do. We don't get what we deserve. We don't get what we deserve. Remember singing that? Anyway, all right. Put your notes in the comments, people. We will see you tomorrow. God bless you.